Bossier Parish Community College and the Division of Communication and Performing Arts present The Play's the Thing, a look at local theater events with Peggy Byers.
Hello everybody and welcome to The Play's the Thing. I'm your host Peggy Byers and this is a look at all things theatrical in the Shreveport-Bossier area. And I'm glad you're joining me here. It's the first show of the season because the fall season has begun. And here as my guest today is Keith Bruce. Keith Bruce is a well-known talent here at BIPSI and certainly in the Arklatex as well. And we're going to be talking about some of the season. The fall season is here, Keith.
It's a lot going on. It's a lot to be excited about.
Oh, I know. There's so many organizations here in Shreveport-Bossier that produce live performances and live theater. And we are lucky enough to have a wonderful person here in town, Ginger Fulmer, and she compiles a list of everything that the local theaters are doing. And it includes organizations like the Academy of Children's Theater, Bossier Parish Community College Theater, the Cabaret Theater, which is kind of a newer venue here in the area, East Bank Theater, Emmett Hook Center, LSUS Shreveport Black Box Theater, Marjorie Lyons Playhouse, that's over in the Centenary campus, and that's been there for years and is a beautiful playhouse. The Mahogany Theater, the only professional theater here in town, a River City Repertory Theater, which is our equity theater, the only professional equity theater here in Northwest Louisiana. So we're going to mention some of the things that they're up to. Shreveport Little Theater, which has been around how many years? 90 years?
Oh, long
years.
time. Yeah.
I know this for a fact, Keith. I had to do a paper on Shreveport Little Theater.
Oh, really?
So I had to do research on it. And it is, and you may already know this, it's the oldest continuously operating community theater in the United States.
In the United States, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's quite an honor to have such a, even when they had fires, they continued to operate.
And there was more than one, right?
Yes. They've had some ups and downs. Of course, also professionally listed here is things like the Shreveport Opera, the Shreveport Symphony, the Strand Theater, Stage Center, another group that kind of moves around for their venues. They don't have a permanent home, but they use the Emmett Hook Center a lot in downtown Shreveport. The School of Performing Arts and the Shreveport Metropolitan Ballet. So that is... Those are a lot of arts organizations and theater organizations we're not really that big a metropolitan area.
I think it's something to be proud of, that we embrace the arts in this area and that people do go see these shows. It's not like there's no houses. People are interested in the arts.
Yeah, very much so. And so, that's a lucky thing to have with any metropolitan area. So let's go ahead and get right started with it. And we're going to start first with the oldest continuously operating community theater in Shreveport, Shreveport Little Theater. And what's going to be their first show, Keith?
It's one of my favorites. The first show coming up, the Addams Family, I think they're working on. I think it's going to be really neat. I know a couple of scenic designers and the lighting guy, David White, of course, he's the resident lighting designer for SLT.
Oh, okay.
And my daughter's, there's a buzz about the show. She wants to go see it. It's the Addams Family, so that crazy kind of fun story with music. I don't know if I want to give away too much, but I think technically it should be kind of neat. There's some
and it's a musical version.
Musical version.
Yeah, and so some of you may be familiar with the old dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun, 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 dun-dun-dun-dun. Yeah, the Addams Family, of course, it was a hit TV show.
And
ironically enough, the movie was on last night.
Was it really?
Yeah, no, it's going, because they had Thing, going
What,
across.
and Gomez is funny.
Yeah. And it was a classic TV show, and that's a real trend to take things that have been a TV show or a movie and adapting it to the stage.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I want to see some new, original, well thought out written plays, and I guess there's a place for that, because I think in Broadway and in some of these other producing theaters that they have to make the money to keep their season going.
Yes, absolutely.
There's a draw to some of these family shows like Shrek. I know they had a great time with that and brought in a lot of people. Would that be the show I went to, Broadway to go see? Probably not. But families, we're seeing a lot of families coming in. It's bringing in younger people too. So I think they're looking at filling those seats and trying to get the next generation of theater goers interested in theater.
Yeah, I see
guess,
it works that way.
It's not my favorite. It wouldn't be my first choice. Like, I wouldn't go, probably Spider-Man would not be my first choice on Broadway.
There was a time when people wrote original material for Broadway and good musicals that no one had ever seen or heard of. And I know a lot of it is the familiarity factor that they say, well, we know know we're going to like it because we liked the movie.
Yeah.
But then you aren't trying new things.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish that people
Take it back.
just
back
take
to that.
back that originality.
Some of the remounts are like Porgy and Bess. They remounted on Broadway. You know, I like those too. But I want to get back to the original. Here's something we've never seen before. Wow. You know,
Right.
or just a redo of what we've seen everything, kind of. But you know, there's new things out there.
And there are going to be some original shows, just to look on the bright side too, that have never been done before in the area at Shreveport Little Theater. But The Addams Family, a musical directed by Dick King, choreography again by Ginger Fulmer. She's a favorite here in town. She was just worked on the movie.
And she was in the movie Star. Did so fun working with her.
And for those of you who aren't familiar, you know, Bipsy does an original movie every June, and Ginger and Richard Fulmer are both very popular actors and producers, and she's doing the choreography in The Addams Family. And of course, the original New York cartoon was by Charles Addams. Now, here's one that I hadn't heard of before the Shreveport Little Theater is doing, The Fox on the Fairway. But look who it's by.
Ken Ludwig.
Yeah.
I bet it's going to be a hoot. You know?
Now,
I don't know that one either. I don't know that
It's
one.
a farce, just much in the same way that Noise is Off, that we've produced here at Bipsy before, and Lend Me a Tenor we've done here before, right?
Yeah.
And all of those are the typical, you know, door slamming, scantily clad women running in and out of the room, you know. So I looked at a trailer for it online, and if you want to, you can get a taste of it because other theater companies have done it, and you can find some of their live trailers, on YouTube. So if you wanted to get an idea about The Fox and the Fairway.
They usually do good farce work. I like seeing SLT's farces.
Yeah,
it's usually a hoot. It's usually fun. So.
Yeah, you leave the theater laughing. You leave the theater in a good mood. Now, the exact opposite of that is coming up in December with
The Crucible.
Yes.
Let's get serious, you know, and it gets a little serious there, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Arthur Miller, you know, there's a great playwright. You know?
Oh, I know. And they're, ironically enough, not only are they doing The Crucible, but later on in the season, they're as a part of their Lanyap productions, not a main stage production, they're going to be doing All My Sons by Arthur Miller.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so 2 big plays by Arthur Miller.
And I could see high schools coming out and seeing this, and I don't know bonus points, whatever they do, but you usually get a taste of The Crucible in English, it seemed like, or we used to.
Yeah, exactly. And it was such, you know, he wrote it at such a dark period in American history.
Yeah.
In the 50s.
It's angsty.
Yeah,
Makes you think.
The witch hunts of the 1950s, when are you now or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
Right.
Yeah, so appearing before the House on Un-American Activities.
And isn't that intelligent how he's showing what's going on? You know, that's what we're looking for, that writing we were talking about, and how intelligent it is and what he's doing with it.
Yeah,
you know?
really using those words powerfully.
Those words and imagery to describe what's going on in his present time by looking at what happened in the past.
Oh, exactly.
Love that.
Witch hunt in the 50s or witch hunt in Salem?
Yeah.
Which is it going to be? I didn't mean to make that pun.
And witches are popular. You know, right now, so I bet you that should be kind of neat.
Anything kind of to do with the supernatural, even though The Crucible, you know, has a dark examination of that. And then just to finish off, another farce is that I've never heard of. They did The Fox and the Fairway, and then they're going to do 2 on the Aisle, 3 in a Van, and they say, again, it's kind of a farce in the flavor of Noise is Off and all those door slamming, scantily clad women running around.
Well, you had me at scantily clad women. No. But I like the name. The name is like, I want to see what that is. What is that? You know, is there a van?
And I'm glad it's something that hasn't been seen before.
Right.
You know, it's not familiar to the area, so go out and support Shreveport Little Theater and see something.
Bobby Darrow, and you know, I guess his whole board, they do really well at picking out shows. You know, they really do. I love just seeing what they're going to come up with their next season.
Yeah.
You know, and making it work.
And one more thing for Shreveport Little Theater before we take a break. The last thing to close out Shreveport Little Theater in May in this fall season of 2014-2015 is The Roar of the Grease Paint, The Smell of the Crowd by Anthony Newley and Leslie Brickus. And they had a big hit with Stop the World, I Want to Get Off, and then they followed it with this musical that's going to be coming to Shreveport Little Theater.
Are there clowns involved? Or
it's
the grease paint, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like a circus. It's almost like a musical review more than it is necessarily a book musical, like you did Fiddler,
like story,
last semester, and that has a very strong storyline. This is more of a musical review, but of course one of the big songs from it that was a hit for Anthony Newley is, you may have heard this one, Who Can I Turn To When Nobody Wants Me? Yeah, okay. Who can I turn to if you turn away? Okay, speaking of turning away, Keith, Why don't we take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk some more about some of the theaters here in town, and we're going to get to what Bipsy's going to be producing for this next fall season, 2014-2015. So please stay tuned, and we'll be back after these messages.
Storms come up fast. Storm Protect Your Family now. We want you to know a safe room or storm shelter can provide the highest protection for your family during tornadoes and other severe windstorms. To learn more about how you can protect your family and property from storms, visit getagameplan.org and click on Mitigation Plan. Louisiana, we can do this. This mitigation message brought to you by the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness.
Whether you're enjoying an ATV, all-terrain vehicle, or an ROV, recreational off-highway vehicle, safety can be as simple as ABC. A. Always wear a proper helmet, eye protection, gloves, long sleeves and pants, sturdy boots, and in an ROV, the seatbelt. B. Ride sober and only on designated trails. C. Get safety trained through the ATV Safety Institute, atvsafety.org, or the Recreational Off-Highway Vehicle Association, rohva.org.
In 1977, in Johannesburg, South Africa, an 8-year-old boy picked up the game of golf from his father. By the age of 9, he was already outplaying him. The odds of this gentle lad winning the Junior World Golf Championships at the age of 14, 1 in 16 million. The odds of that same boy then making it to the US and European Pro Golf Tours, 1 in 7 million. The odds of the Big Easy winning the Open Championship once and the US Open Championship twice, 1 in 780 million. The odds of this professional golfer having a child diagnosed with autism, 1 in 110. Ernie Els encourages you to learn the signs of autism at autismspeaks.org. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Play's the Thing, a look at all things theatrical in the Shreveport-Bossier area. I'm your host, Peggy Byers, and joining me today to help me out with breaking in the fall season is Mr. Keith Bruce, works here in CAPA, the Communication and Performing Arts. If you didn't know what that acronym stood for. And we've just been having great fun discussing what's going on at Shreveport Little Theater. But you know, there's a beautiful new center at the head of Texas Street that just opened about 2 years ago.
About 2, yeah. I think the paint's still new on it.
Yeah. The Emmett Hook Center downtown has started. Is going to be starting their season soon. And their very first show is going to be Foxfire. And when you drive by it, I drove home that way yesterday. When they've already got the banner out front,
all right.
Yeah, advertising for Foxfire, and I think that's been produced here before. Some theater in town, maybe at East Bank, they've done it before.
Sounds really familiar.
Yeah, but it's been quite a while, so it's not like that. It's just
like
back to back.
Last year,
yeah. I know that the original production on Broadway, it started off Broadway, and the original production, of course, starred the great acting team of Hume Cronin and Jessica Tandy, and they won several Tony Awards and Drama Desk Awards for it. And it's directed by Mary Joris. Do you know Mary?
I do. I do. Didn't she recently do Anne Frank? I'm sorry, Anne Frank. At SLT. So I love to see the directors are, they're going to different houses and doing different things.
And we've got a nice core of people who direct in town that are dependable. And, Dick King, we mentioned already. Of course, Dr. Crawford here at the school. Mary Joris kind of moves around. She's kind of a resident director at different places and works a lot with East Bank. So it should be a good production. And then it's not the Emmett Hook Center that's producing it, but it's Stage Center.
Okay. In Emmett Hook.
In Emmett Hook Center is going to join later on at Emmett Hook. And we've already mentioned farces in the style of Noises Off. They're actually going to be doing Noises Off.
And that's a good show.
That's a great show and a hard show to do.
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah. Because all of the twisting of were you
the backstage stuff?
Yeah. Were you here when?
I wasn't here when they
Mr.
did
Slaughter
it
directed
here.
it?
Yeah. But it's one of my favorites because I love just the background craziness that goes on, and being in shows, acting, sometimes it's kind of like that.
Yes, exactly. It's more interesting what's going off stage
than what's actually going
on stage.
All
the backstage backstabbings and different things. And I remember when we did that show with Mr. Slaughter all those years ago, I think I lost like 15 pounds because it's
so much action.
It's
running
so
up here and
physical.
running there.
I
It is
know.
very physical.
But a great cast, and I'm sure it's going to be
I bet it's
presented by Stage Center. And do you know Jared Watson?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Good director too. I
Yeah.
like his style. He usually gets pretty deep and stuff.
And didn't they recently do a chorus line? at
He did a
Stage Center?
chorus line. I didn't get to see it. I wanted to see it.
Yeah,
We
I
were
didn't
so
see it
busy,
either.
but I heard it was good.
Yeah.
And he did one of my favorite shows, Ragtime.
Oh.
I love that show, and I didn't get to see that one either, but I got to
Yeah.
hear how good it was. I wish I would have saw
Yeah.
his production of Ragtime as well.
Did they do? Was it Stage Center that did Big River, or was that Emmett Hook Center?
It was Miss Fulmer was directing that, right?
Okay. Richard?
Richard was in it.
Oh, okay.
At the last minute, he got in. Where was
Oh.
that at? I guess it was Emmett Hook.
I thought so.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think
Okay.
it was. It was while we were doing the movie, and she was a lead in the movie, and then having to leave and direct like at 6 o'clock at night. So she'd work all day with us, bless her heart,
Yeah.
and then go do her thing, you know. So we were so just glad that she could be a part of our work. That was
We're
tough.
talking again about Ginger Fulmer. She's just full of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then the children's group is going to present A Christmas Story. Another example
Of a
of
Christmas story.
of a film
Yeah,
was
that
first a
comes
film.
to the
Yeah,
theater.
you're right, then
want
comes
to
to
see
theater.
What they do with that. That might be fun.
Right, and I think it's a musical.
A musical. Okay.
A musical. Everybody knows A Christmas Story, right? You know,
Yeah.
just shoot your eye out, kid.
Flicking
Ho,
the,
ho.
frozen to the pole.
Yeah.
And,
A triple dog dare you.
triple dog dare you.
Jumping right to the triple dog dare. So most people, and of course, usually, what is it, TBS or something runs
Show it all maybe 24 hours.
24 hours
or
during the
something.
Christmas season,
Yeah.
back to back to back. So everybody's heard of A Christmas Story, so they're definitely depending on familiarity
Maybe
for
a
that
cult
one.
following pops up in this one, and you know how they're
Yeah.
always acting out Rocky Horror Picture Show. Maybe they'll get up there and kind of course, we don't like that when we're doing live theater. That's usually in our way.
Right. But, you know, they've done articles on the guy that actually bought the house that
A Christmas Story.
that A Christmas Story was filmed
wow.
in, and he's kept it exactly like in the movie,
There
just
you go.
vintage and all of that. And then they finish with The Bishop's Wife in December. And then I'm just going to mention a few of the ones that are coming to the Cabaret Theater, the one that we told you about. It's in the section, older section of Highland.
Yeah,
off of
I didn't
Dalzell.
even know about it for the longest time, and then I realized they were back there. You know, I think they're
And I think they give food too. I think
Is it like dinnery or?
I think it's like dinner theater.
Okay.
You know, you get a meal and a show,
show.
so you can't beat that. And a lot of what they're doing for their performances are all comedies. They've got a classic Whodunit. The Butler did it in September. In November, they've got The Queen of Bingo, which
Okay.
I'd never
I
heard
don't
of
know about that
before.
one, but I bet it's
It's
exploratory.
interactive.
Oh, that sounds
It's
fun.
interactive with the
Yeah.
audience. The audience actually plays bingo along with the actors, and at the end, somebody wins a 10-pound turkey.
Wow.
I read about it online. And then just another highlight, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. But before we talk about River City Rep, I want to talk a little bit about Bipsy season.
Bipsy
Okay, so
season.
what are we doing?
Well, right now they're in production. It's cast and the sets are coming up, Frog and Toad.
Okay.
And it just looks like it's really going to be a cute show. I think adults are going to like it. I think kids are going to like it. It's kind of all ages. Jonathan Offit, he's just started with us, I think, about a year. He's our very,
Yes.
very talented scenic designer. I'm loving what he's doing with that. And so we're talking lights and his design and things, but I think it's going to be something to come out and see. And I think you're going to have a good time. And
Okay, now tell me this. I don't know the children's book, so is one kind of a cranky?
One's kind of a cranky Toad,
that
like
Toad?
He's
Oh.
pessimist, and then Frog's like the cute, you know. And I even wanted to market like Team Frog, Team Toad. Who will you choose? Like, you know, the vampire love
Right,
story or
exactly.
whatever. But I think it's going to be interesting and just seeing it. It's usually like life lessons, and it's kind of like, well, do you want to be pessimist all your life, or do you want to kind of see that glass as, you know, half full? Do you want to be more positive? And I think there'll be some lessons we can take to life and heart, and then probably just a good time at the theater. you
Okay.
know.
And then the next show is?
The next show, well, the Christmas show, I mean, it's not in the theater, but we count it as part of the season, and we
Right.
do this big,
it's
massive.
It's a tradition at the Bossier's
Civic Center. And so it's a show, and all age definitely come out. The only price for admission, you don't even have to do this, but if you would, bring 1 can of food, and that serves and feeds the poor, you know, and that's a great thing. So we just kind of count that as a season. But then the next would be Nicholas Nickleby.
Okay, Charles Dickens.
Charles Dickens, and it's time to get out our English accents. And, you know, I think this is going to be a great experience for everyone involved, even the actors.
It's a long show, isn't it?
It's a long show. You know, it's the condensed version, so we wouldn't actually come back another night and watch the second half. But it's still, you know, I don't know if it's quite Les Mis long, but it's pretty long.
Okay.
But Dr. Crawford's so good about trimming fat and picking up cues that he doesn't want. He knows when you're going to get bored, so he's going to try and facilitate that.
Right.
But I don't think it's one of the places you're going to get bored with. I think it's going to be one you're going to be just glued to this story, you know, and see what happens with it.
And then Snow White.
Snow White, our wacky children's show version tale from the illustrious Stephen Slaughter.
Yes.
You know, if you've ever seen a Stephen Slaughter play, he can be wacky. It's usually going to be fun, and there's going to be audience participation. So bring the kids out and bring your kids, but they're going to ask you, hey, remember what it was like when you were a child? So go ahead and respond and help us, and it's going to be a fun time. Those are really good shows.
In children's theater, I did it once for several months on a tour, and they will really get involved. And sometimes, if you're the villain, you have trouble with the children getting involved.
I remember there was one point where one of the actors was the wolf, and he had, hey, shh, no. You know, they were heckling him so much. It was so funny, but that's what makes theater so fun.
Yes.
Those live moments where you're in the moment, and that audience is just giving it right back, and you never know what you're going to get, especially from a kid.
You're right, exactly.
And I love to just watch how they deal with that and, you know, how they approach that. That's really cool.
And then the summer production, you just got back. Really, even though fall has started, we're talking about it's fall, not summer any longer. You just got back from Chicagoland. You took Greater Tuna up there, and then what's going to be the show that you take in the summer?
Turn of the Screw, and I'm really excited about this. This is like your ghost story. This is like, it's going to be creepy. I don't know if you remember Woman in Black that we did, but it was really creepy, just really had this feel. There were people screaming in the audience, and I've never seen that. Like, I've seen people do it in movies. I've never seen it in theater.
Right.
And they were literally scared to death. And we're going to try to get back to that. We're going to scare you, you know. And as from what I know, it's like some of the sound effects, or a lot of the sound effects are handled by the actors themselves, so that'll be incorporated into the drama itself. It should be really neat. I'm looking forward to that one.
All right, yeah. And that's the one you'll take up to Chicagoland.
We'll take to Chicagoland. It gives the kids some touring experiences. You know, they know how to put a show in a truck, take it, and do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And we might, I guess, about 2 days setting that up and re-rehearsing in the new space and finding that totally different audience, totally different part of the country.
Exactly.
And I love to see how it's different.
The variety. That is the spice of life. That's the way to do it.
And so I know that we'll always continue to do that tour. I think it's just a great thing for the students, you know, that not a lot of people get to do, I don't think, in, you know, secondary education or college.
Yeah.
I don't think they do many tours, and I think that's great.
It's a wonderful, you know, addition to a very popular theater program. And we're almost out of time, but before we say goodbye to you, as we've kind of briefly reviewed the fall season here in Shreveport-Bossier, I did want to mention the first production that River City Repertory Theater, the only equity theater here in town, is doing, because it's very special. The first production they're doing is a 2-person show called The Gin Game. And again, it was originally on Broadway with Hume Cronin and Jessica Tandy, that great theatrical couple. But what I wanted to mention was they're bringing in Academy Award nominee Margaret Avery to play one of the roles, and then Richard Fulmer, a veteran actor here in town, veteran director, is going to play opposite her.
Oh, I want to see that.
Now, how do I know Margaret Avery, or how would you know her? Because she was in The Color Purple. She played Shug Avery. Remember the nightclub singer in The Color Purple? She played Shug Avery in The Color Purple. She was nominated for an Academy Award, as there were many nominations for that Steven Spielberg film. And they're bringing her in as a special guest. And they're going to do some fundraisers before the show. It's River City Repertory Theater. It'll be presented at East Bank Theater. And they have a very good relationship with a scenic designer that they bring in from California to do their shows and to do their designs. And he'll be working working with them all through the season. And so there's a pizza party called Pizza with the Players that is open to the public. It's a $75 donation to come and have great raft beer. Have you heard about that local?
The brewery.
Yeah, the local brewery. And then they're going to have some local wines, like from Cloud Wine.
Well, that sounds
fun.
fun.
So it's going to be promoting Shreveport Bossier products, and then it's going to be promoting the show. And it will open in October at East Bank Theater. So
right in time for my birthday. So I'm going to have to look at a ticket. That sounds like a good night.
Yeah, oven baked pizza and beer and wine. $75. Yeah, who could ask for more or anything more?
And I bet some entertainment. There's going to be something.
Well, yeah, and just to meet Margaret Avery too. You know, it's impressive. I mean, just to be nominated for an Academy Award.
And she was good, and I remember in that movie.
Oh yeah, she was very good, and as the whole cast was. Okay, and then I want to mention one more thing that River City Rep is doing. It won't be very soon. It's going to be in February, but they're going to be doing the comedy Boeing. Have you ever heard of?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's an older play. It was made into a movie. I think Jerry Lewis was in the original movie. It's about a guy who's engaged to 3 different stewardesses, and he keeps them separated.
On the planes,
so they come in and out so that nobody knows about the other one.
Right.
But yeah,
that sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, I guess at the end though, it all comes to a and it stars Blaine Weaver. Do you know Blaine? He's a local actor that moved out to LA, and he's done some.
I bet you I do. I bet you I do.
Yeah, or you've heard the name or whatever.
For sure.
And it's got Anna Maria Spark Keel and Kara Johnston in it, and oh goodness, the third person, another attractive young. Oh, Susan Curtin.
Okay.
So Keith, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
being here today. We learned a little bit about what Bipsy's doing. We learned a little bit about what the other theaters in town are doing. All I can say to everybody is, if you've never gone very much to live theater, why don't you make a resolution this fall to go out and enjoy some live theater at one of these theatrical
it's
venues?
Fun. There's so much going on.
Yeah, there's lots of comedies that are going to be presented, and a few dramas, but I know that comedies are always crowd pleasers.
Yeah, and it's nothing like getting out there and just seeing how that moment works out, and it's right there in front of you. It's live.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen.
And you can never go back to it.
You can never go back to it once it's done.
You can tape it and all that, but it's just not the same. I love movies, and I love theater. You don't have to make a distinction between the other.
Things.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you again,
Thank
Keith.
you.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us today on The Play's the Thing. We'll see you again next time. Until then, go out and support live theater.
Bossier Parish Community College and the Division of Communication and Performing Arts present